All right, Shalom Akim. First, I'd like to start by saying all praise to Yahweh by Shemel Shai, by Shemel Kakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles that rule well, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. This is a quick lesson on Latino community marches in solidarity with Black Lives Matter movement. And, I don't have to give the reason why they're doing it. They're going to give it to you themselves. So, press play.
Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! I've lived here my entire life and I've never seen anything even close to this ever organized in this community. Tu lucha es mi lucha! Tu lucha es mi lucha! Tu lucha es mi lucha!
Everybody's too afraid to have this conversation about racism. But when are we going to be ready? The time is now.
We feel compelled as a Latino community to come out and say we support the Black Lives Matter movement.
I am here to tell everyone that no authority can get rid of minorities. We are strong, we are here, and we know our rights.
We're going to defund the police. We're going to stop the abuse of our black and brown men and women in our community.
We're in Union City right now, and this population is Latino, Dominican, Puerto Rican, South American, Cuban, and basically a very predominantly blue-collar or Latino community. What happened to George Floyd is not an isolated incident, and as a Latino man, it is my responsibility to act in solidarity with my black and brown brothers and sisters.
When do we want it?
My first protest was when I was 14 years old, is when a off-duty Weehawken police officer killed a friend of mine who was 17 years old. And that was my first encounter with police brutality against a person of color. What's going on in this country where police brutality and systematic oppression is accepted is no longer going to be accepted by communities across the country.
It's a Latino fight as well. You know why? Because we have Afro-Latinos, we have Black Latinos, and the community of Latinos seem to always forget that in multiple countries across the world, there are Black Latinos. No matter you're Mexican, Colombian, South America, Central America, no matter what, and they seem to forget that because of race and color. And we can't forget that. This is why it's our fight too. Because these are our brothers and sisters.
Don't shoot!
Right, and we are actually brothers and sisters according to the scriptures. See what's going on in the Blacks, Latins, and Native American communities, and they ain't saying anything about natives, I don't think, but is that the same thing is going on in their communities, because we actually represent the 12 tribes of Israel, and the curses are upon us, So, 1 second. All right, this Deuteronomy chapter 28, I'm going to start at verse 15. It says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord Yahweh thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, right? Because we was given the law, statutes, and commandments, to govern ourselves after, but Israel wanted to do after the heathen, the other nations, man. It says, observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Right, so we got curses upon us, and I'm gonna get a couple. I'm gonna get the ones that's dealing with us going into slavery. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes there. Right, so not only have the blacks went into slavery, the Latino community has been through this also, right along with the Native American community. It says, thy ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from before thy face, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. Right, and our enemies was Esau, man. Esau, the white man, the Caucasian man. It says, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fill with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. And that's happening now today. When Esau took the Latino, natives, the Latinos, the what yeah, I think it took like almost all of their all the tribes kids of the except Gad and Reuben. But the whole South and Central America, their kids were being put in, brought over here to America, and a lot of them was being put into concentration camps. You know, just not too long ago. I forgot exactly the name of the title of the information that was going on, but that just recently happened again. You know, because I guess they wanted them to come to America, but it's like I'm not gonna go off into that. But you know, that's the curses, man, and they know that the blacks were also on the auction blocks. You know, that's what happened to us. You know, and okay, yeah, it says the fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed away. Right? You know, when the conquistadors came over and took everything from the Latinos and the natives, that's what happened to them, man. It says, so that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. Right? And I'm going to jump. This is verse 37. It says, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. Right. So we got brought over here to America, and we end up getting called names that weren't our names. The Latino tribes is Issachar, Ephraim, Zebulun, Asher, Naphtali, you know, just to name a few. And Judah is the so-called African American tribes, which is the top tribe. You know, Yahushua, so-called Jesus Christ, came out of that tribe, man. You know, we're all brothers and sisters, man. And I'm gonna jump because this is another identifier. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54. It says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother. Right? And that's what got us separated, because we don't know who we are according to the Bible, and our eyes are evil towards our brothers. We look at our brothers that's in these gangs, or he's a Aladdin King, or he's a 2-6, or he's a GD, or he's a Vice Lord, or, you know, and that divided us, and it made us evil towards each other, man. But that's just one thing that made us evil towards each other, man. It says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, right? We used to be humble to each other. Brotherly love, man. His eyes shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. And we know that, one of the main problems in Black, Latino, and Native American community is that they leave their children, man. And, you know, and they treat their women like shit, you know. I'm going to jump this verse 56. It says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter. Right? So the women just as well, the same thing. They're evil toward their children, toward their husbands, getting their husbands locked up, setting them up to kill them, child support, so on and so forth, man. You know, and a lot of guys do deserve it, but it's also because of the curses, man. All right, and I'm gonna grab these other precepts. Oh wait, I'm gonna hit this point. This Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64 says, and the Lord Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other. And thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. And that goes into the Christianity, and that goes into the Islam. A lot of them Ephraimites are Muslims, and, you know, and a lot of the Latinos are Catholics, man. You know. Oh. This is Deuteronomy chapter 3, verse 8. It says, "Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity." Right? We came over here to serve slavery, you know, the blacks, lands, Native Americans, not to get comfortable with the society, not to try to take a piece of the society, not to ask for no reparations, and to live amongst these other nations. Our calling is to be kings, prince and princesses of the universe soon to come, man. In righteousness through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai. What's going on in the USA and all the wickedness, and this ain't the end of us, man. You know, that isn't who we are supposed to be. This book, chapter 3, verse 8 again. "Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity," right? So we still over here in slavery, "where thou hast scattered us," right? Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai has scattered us over here. Not them that so-called Jesus Christ, that white guy. Not Cesare Borgia or Serapis. You know, and you'll have to look those names up, man. It says, "Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments," right? Taxes and stuff, man. "According to all the iniquities of our fathers," right? So our forefathers went off, man. Our forefathers went off. We are our forefathers in the reincarnation. Hence the reason why we're over here in our captivity, you know. "Which departed from the Lord our power," right? So, you know, we departed from Yahweh Shema Shai, you know, and the Lord is calling us back now via his prophecies, in which this is a prophecy. So, you know, you Latinos that watch this video, you natives, and you Judites, you so-called blacks that watch this video, y'all have no reason to be out there, man. Y'all Savior is on his way back, you know. You know, so, you know, watch these videos, GMS videos, in whatever state you might be in, or, you know, the elders is GMS, um, they in New York, GMS New York, so on and so forth. You welcome to get in contact, you know, with me and whatnot. But, you know, our power is the power of the world, and this is his prophecies. And, you know, we supposed to be getting up out of the way of this type of these type of events. So I'm going to play the clip, and then I'm gonna get into the history of the Northern Kingdom, which are the so-called Latinos and the Native Americans.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! As a woman who is multiracial, my other father is Puerto Rican, all right? I had to have a conversation with him and fight with him back and forth about the fact why I was coming here today. He kept telling me, oh, the pandemic, COVID-19, I get that. But we have to bring change. And that is a hard conversation that we have at the dinner table with all families on the phones. It's about educating. You know, black people, los Africano-Americanos, they can't always educate everybody. We have to educate ourselves. Yes, it's our responsibility to educate ourselves at the end of the day. And that's what we have to do.
Right, and the blacks and Latinos, and they mixed amongst each other, and you know, they in relationships with each other, you know, and that's what they're supposed to be doing. But there is no such thing as mixed, though. You are who your father is, according to the Bible. This is Numbers chapter 118, "And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers." So it's after the fathers, man. That's who you declare your genealogy, you know, "according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward by their polls." Right. So, 1 second. This is the word pedigree and the etymology, etymonline.com. It says early 15th century pedigree, genealogical table or chart, your genealogy, man. You know, your race, your nationality. You know, let me look up the word genealogy. Genealogy is a noun. Early 14th century line of descent, pedigree, descent. It says from Old French genealogia, 12th century from late Latin, genealogia, tracing of a family. So you know how the blacks be wanting to trace their line back to figure out who they were in Africa and all of that extra stuff. That's how you figure out who you are. You trace your genealogy, but it's all through the spirit, man. You know, we not going know precisely what tribe you are from, you know, all the time. But you know, it's your genealogy goes back to the 12 tribes of Israel. If you of Latin, Native American, and black descent, you know. But it's of the spirit because it don't matter what color you are, too, man. So it says tracing a family from Greek genealogia, how you say it, Slaki, forgive me. The making of a pedigree from Gena, your generation, your descents. Gene, give birth, begat. Right, okay. Meaning study of family trees. I just jumped. But yeah. Yep, that's how you figure out who you are. It's through your father line. If your father's a Puerto Rican, then you are Puerto Rican. You are not Puerto Rican and Mexican. If your mother's a Mexican. If you are a Panamanian, your father is a Panamanian from that area, then you know you are Zebulun according to the Bible. You know, there is no such thing as mixed. If your mother is something other than what your father is, as far as nationality wise, you are what your father is. So, Salakia.
I'm half black and half Dominican. The black community can't be the only community that's sticking up for themselves. So when everybody comes together, we can actually be heard and get justice.
And you know how Esau is, the devil. He he see you a different color from he is, you automatically black, damn near. Or you know, especially if you're of color, you know. And look, she's dark skinned, and Esau would assume that she's black, you know, or treat her like she's black because she's not so called white, you know. So
COVID has hit us very hard. I've had many friends and family members that have contracted the disease, and the fact that people turned out lets you know that although COVID is dangerous, we understand that there's more, that systematic oppression is most dangerous.
You know, it feels like maybe it's because of the quarantine that everyone is really invested in what's going on more in the world. Everyone is coming together in all 50 states of America, and it's a beautiful thing.
it's not because of the COVID, it's because of Bible prophecy. um The second Ezra chapter 9, verse 1, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Right, so these are the prophecies, these are the signs of the times. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, right, and it's happening throughout the whole world right now, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Right, so all this was spoken of in the beginning, man, that this was going to happen, man. You know, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest, right? And this is the end. You know, this is the end of Esau's kingdom, the so-called white man. This is the end of his kingdom, man. That's why all these uproars are happening in the world.
So some of you might know this, and some of you might not. This is an election year. Use your power. You got voter registration forms right here.
I am praying that people will vote in November. With this pandemic and everything, we cannot live in fear.
No justice, no peace.
And that's their problem, man. They want to sit there and vote and go to a different God. The Lord said, I am your lawgiver, you know. Yahweh Shai said, I am your lawgiver, man. You know, Yahweh Shemel Shai, you know. That's why they're going through what they're going through. That's why they get cousins getting gunned down, family members getting gunned down, sisters, brothers, mothers, and everything. And they feeling all bent out of shape about it because they don't have no understanding, you know. But this is Isaiah chapter 30, and this Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1, it says, Woe to rebellious children, said the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, right? And y'all covering with the covering, which is y'all calling yourself vote. How y'all gonna vote in a society that doesn't like you at all, even all the way up to the president? You Latinos is crazy, man. He saw the white man, Trump, you know, all the way up to the elites and all them crackers and that rule in the legislations and the government body and everything. They've been passing laws and stuff that's been basically stop and frisk, ICE. And y'all was over here first. They took all your children from Latin America, and a lot of y'all friends and family gave y'all kids up to come over here. In which, in reality, all they did was put you in concentration camps, or might use your kids as sacrifices, or whatever else they might have used them for, man. But y'all get what y'all deserve, man, because y'all want to sin against Yahweh Shemel Shai. It said that they may add sin to sin. Y'all trying to go to them for some understanding and some justice, but that's not. They are not of your nation. The Lord said you're not supposed to put nobody over you that ain't of your nation. Y'all call yourself Christians and whatever sect y'all might be in, but y'all don't even know precepts and stuff like this, man. Y'all waking up though. Y'all waking up slowly but surely, but a lot of y'all not gonna get it, you know. Verse 2, it says that walk to go down into Egypt. Egypt is America. And have not asked in my mouth. Right, y'all want to vote. Y'all want to go to this government. Y'all want to get in Trump face about righteousness when he's the devil. How you going to ask the devil to be righteous? To strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Right, so y'all trusting in this society, man. It says, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Because ultimately what's going on is a lot of order through chaos, a lot of witchcraft. Esau setting these events up and setting these race riots and things up on purpose. Even if they didn't do it intentionally, they never let events go to waste, so to speak. You know, they got that in one of their books. They capitalize off of things that happen, and you know, they get you sheeple, to follow after it and protest and stuff like that, so they can pass an agenda. You know, but that's still prophecy. That's the coming down of his society. So everything is going according to plan, according to Yahweh Shemel Shai's plan, man. But it's gonna be to y'all shame because Esau is passing a lot more legislation to take more rights from you. Eventually, this COVID-19 situation, they pushed that out. They probably gonna push out a whole nother, more than likely gonna push out a whole nother virus. You know, this one is gonna be actually really deadly. You know, to where it's gonna kill a lot of people off. It ain't gonna be like this COVID-19 situation and everything, man. You know, so on and so forth, man. You know.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
We have to come together and vote. We have to bring the change. We are the change. And if we believe that, and the generation that is behind us and is coming, we have to come together with all generations.
I really hope to see that the law enforcement will think twice when they come across minorities. Listen, like, we are human just like you. We respect your job, but respect us. You are supposed to protect us.
Well, I hope that this is not a moment, that this is a movement, and that people take this rally forward in their lives, that they don't stop fighting for justice, that they continue to speak out when they see an injustice, because an injustice against one is an injustice against all of us. And so I just hope that this is not something that people go home and feel good about and then post on social media and then forget about. I hope that this is something that continues into the future and that people carry with them for the rest of their lives.
All right, this Ecclesiastes chapter 25, verse 24, it says, of the woman came the beginning of sin, and through her we all die. Right, so you following up behind these women. The Black Lives Matter was founded on by women, you know, and they I don't know if all of them are queer, and one that's a queer married a transgender dude who wanted to be a woman and whatnot. And I forgot the other one's status. But yeah, that's what's gonna get y'all killed, man. And then the women that's out there that's claiming come out and vote and all that, it's to no avail. You being out there gonna get you killed. So, but 1 second. In 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 1, it says, in the 12th year of Ahaz, king of Judah, began Hoshea the son of Eli to reign in Samaria over Israel 9 years. And Israel is talking about the northern kingdom, Salakia. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not as the kings of Israel that were before him. Against him came up Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea became his servant and gave him presents. And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to So king of Egypt, and brought no presents to the king of Assyria, and he had done as he had done year by year. So he stopped bringing presents to him. Therefore the king of Assyria, this is y'all history in the Bible. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land and went up to Samaria and besieged it 3 years. It says, in the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and in Habor by the river of Gozan and in the cities of the Medes. It says, for so it was that the children of Israel had sinned against the Lord Yahweh, their power, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had fear of the gods. It says, and walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom the Lord cast out from before the children of Israel, and the kings of Israel which they had made. It says, and the children of Israel did secretly those things that were not right against the Lord their power, and they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchmen to the fenced cities. And they set them up images and groves in every high hill and under every green tree. And that's likened unto churches now today. Y'all be at all these churches in y'all neighborhoods. But y'all was worshiping the idols back then, as y'all doing today. It says, and there they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen whom the Lord carried away before them, and wrought wicked things and provoked the Lord to anger, for they served idols, whereof the Lord had said unto them, ye shall not do this thing. Yet the Lord testified against Israel and against Judah by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, turn ye from your evil ways and keep my commandments and my statutes, according to all the law which I commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. Right, and Israel represents, like I said, the northern kingdom, which represents the so-called Latino tribes, right along with the Gadites, which is the North American Indians, and the Reubenites, which are the Seminole Indian, and Judah represents Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, which is the blacks, the Jamaicans, and the Haitians. Now, Levi left with Israel, but they end up coming back to Judah, which they represents the northern kingdom. And Levi is the Haitians. But it says, verse 14, notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hearken their necks like to the neck of their fathers that did not believe in the Lord their power, and they rejected the statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them, and they followed vanity and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom the Lord had charged them that they should not do like them. Slack it. And that's in the law, statutes, and commandments. The law is not done away with, not even today, man. And they left all the commandments of the Lord their power, and made them molten images, and even 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshipped all the host of heaven, and served Baal. Right, and there's more than 10 commandments, man. You have to read the book, the Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. The first 5 books of Moses gives you your history and all the laws, man. It's 613 laws, if I'm not mistaken. But we're not going to be perfect, but there are laws that we can do and that the Lord will not tolerate in this time that you break them. But it says, and they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire. That's them sacrifices. Our people sold out, and they sacrificed their children, and not even selling out. Some people just kill their children and sacrifice them because they're witches or warlocks, and use divinations and enchantments, right? Witchcraft, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger. Therefore the Lord was very angry with Israel and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Judah only. And also Judah kept not the commandments of the Lord their power, but walked in the statutes of Israel which they made. And the Lord rejected all the seed of Israel, and afflicted them, and delivered them into the hands of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight. Right, out of his sight just means he cast us out of the land. The land that was ours and still is ours to this day is the land of Israel. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi went into captivity under the Babylonian Empire, and the rest of the tribes went under the Assyrian Empire. But they didn't stay under the Assyrian Empire. They eventually fled and came to America. And there's plenty of books out there on that. It says, for he rent Israel from the house of David, and they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king, and Jeroboam drave Israel from following the Lord, and made them sin a great sin. And Jeroboam was a Ephraimite, which Ephraim is the Puerto Ricans now today. For the children of Israel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which he did. They departed not from them, until the Lord moved Israel out of his sight, and he had said by all his servants, the prophets, so was Israel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Cutha, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel, and they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. And that's them Africans. And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there. Okay, that's cool. Yep. So that's the history of what happened and why y'all were brought into captivity before y'all came into America. Now, this is the rest of that history. That's why you need the whole book. The Bible is about the whole book. It ain't about the New Testament only. It's not about the Old Testament only, and the books that were taken out are not valid. It's about the volume of the book, the whole book. This 2 Ezra chapter 13, verse 39, it says, and whereas thou sawest that he gathered another peaceable multitude unto him, Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, whom Salmanasar, which was Salmanasar the fifth, the king of Assyria, you have to look these people up, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, and that was over here to America, that they might keep their statutes which they never kept in their land, in their own land. And they did come over here to keep their statutes, but eventually they went off, especially when the heathen came, the Spaniards. And they enter into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. Right. For the Most High then shewed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. And that's the Horn of Africa. Look up the Horn of Africa. And it says, for through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Asareth, which means another land, which is talking about America. And yep, it took a year and a half for them to get here, over here to America. So, without dragging it out any further, that's the history. That's why the Latino tribes are out there marching in solidarity with the Judite tribes. Judah is the top tribe. The Lord had to wake Judah up, which got all these other rest of the tribes amped up and whatnot. But with that being said, call Allah Yahweh Shai, double honors to the elders and apostles that rule well, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. Shalom.